Hey everybody, and welcome back to Fresh Set. I'm Sabrina.
And I'm Kevin. Loudly.
And yeah, you were yelling. Okay.
I've been told to
Uh,
yell from now on. This is the volume of my voice.
oh God. It's not
That
very
old,
soothing, but
Will Ferrell Saturday Night Live sketch.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we are back with a Grand Prix race review. It's the Hungarian Grand Prix in Budapest. It is the last race before the summer break, so there's
Weird
no
summer
racing
break.
for 3 weeks. But before we jump into the race review, just want to remind you to follow us on social media at Fresh Set Podcast and wherever you get your podcasts. And on YouTube, also at Fresh Set Podcast. Like, follow, share, subscribe, all the things, comment. And yeah, just help us out.
Yep.
But
all the links down in the description.
Yes, always. Before we kind of get into the race, we had free practice on Friday. I mean, there was a couple of rookies running, but nothing of substance. The usual Ferraris, McLarens, 1, 2, 3. But yeah.
The only thing really of note from Thursday to qualifying on Saturday was Max came out and confirmed that he is staying with Red Bull for 2026. I mean, yes. Marco was going around saying that it was going to happen, and he was staying for 2026. And then every headline was Max confirms. Like, okay, it's not a big deal. We know.
I think because Max was like, okay, enough of all this. He was like, I'm just, so you guys can stop asking me. This is what's happening.
Yeah, it's basically like the media saying, we know Marco's a big mouth. So, is this actually happening?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. So jumping right, I guess we can go right into qualifying.
Yeah.
Which
that's where the most interesting stuff happened, anyways. I think.
Yeah, per usual.
The race.
No, there's some good stuff in the race. So Q1, we have from 16th to 20th, we have Yuki, who is at the last second pushed out by Liam Lawson in his old car. Knocking him out into 16th, Gasly 17th, Ocon 18th, Hulk 19th, and Alex Albon in 20th, which is awful for him.
I wonder if he was not impeded, but he just didn't get, how many laps did he? He did 9. So
timing wise,
fair amount of laps in.
Yeah.
I mean, the bottom 5, most of them they all had 6 laps except for Albon. He had 9 laps. So I don't know. He just couldn't put a lap together, I guess.
Yeah, and we never really heard what went wrong
because think he was having a good day.
Yeah, I mean, we see him into Q2s, we see him into Q3s, so to be out in 20th, is a lot.
I feel like there was a lap time deleted here somewhere.
There must have been. I know Hamilton had a lap time deleted, but
yes, he did.
Which we will talk about right now. So into Q2, we have from 11th to 15, we have Kimi Antonelli, Bierman, Hamilton in 12th, Sainz and Colapinto, which is another upsetting one for Hamilton, which then led to Kimi. But I mean, at least Kimi's in 11th.
No, he's in 15th. You just jumbled up that whole thing.
Did I?
From 15 to 11, it was Kimi, Franco, Carlos, Lewis, Behrman. That's why when you went from Lewis,
I was doing 11 to. I was doing 11 to 15.
No, you did 12 to 15 to 11, back down to 13 and 14. And so I was like, wait a minute, this is confusing.
Okay, well,
but I let it slide.
It happens. Or are you looking at where they actually started on grid?
No, this is qualifying.
Oh, okay.
So whatever. You might be looking at starting on grid.
No, this is what I wrote down. Anyways, whatever. So yeah, another upsetting Hamilton. knockout, which then he
Yeah.
had a really upsetting radio,
Yeah.
which then led to a really upsetting uh,
Interview.
interview
Yeah.
post race. So he kind of says in his radio after qualifying in 12th, uh, again, this always happens or something like that, again and again. And then, but you don't really know at that point that he's talking about himself because we only got a clip of the radio.
Yeah.
We later hear the
Yeah.
rest of the radio, and it's like he's talking about himself and how down he is on himself, and he keeps making these mistakes and blah 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 blah.
The most harsh radio or interview that I've heard from Lewis, I think, ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, where he ends up saying, "I'm useless. No problem with the car. The car is no on pole. Probably need to change the driver." And he says this in an interview.
Yeah.
So,
which is a kind of like, woe is me kind of thing. I mean, I don't believe he thinks he needs to change the driver. I think he understands how good he is. I think understands he's not performing where he needs to be, for whatever reason that is. So I think it kind of like a media ploy, just like, oh, I suck today.
I mean, but nobody really fell into it. It was like, no, you're great.
No, I mean, you've been pretty useless in the Ferrari, let's be honest here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think he's just he's really struggling. And and especially with the car, like, I think Charles has outperformed him in every qualifying. At least every qualifying.
I don't know if it was every qualifying. No, I think there's been like one or two where Charles just didn't have a weekend. But it wasn't many. Majority. Yeah. I think they're probably we're at race 14 now.
Yeah.
13. Yeah, I think they're probably 13-2 probably or something, or 14-1.
Yeah.
13-1. Wait.
And I mean,
terrible math. 12-2, 13-1.
Yeah. And then we've seen in races Charles is finishing in probably a fourth, third. He's got a bunch of podiums, albeit third. But Lewis is in that fifth, sixth range, with Charles ahead. So is it the driver? Here we go again. Is it the driver? Is it the car? Granted, there's not the separation that Red Bull has of, top three versus bottom three. But it's far enough away that it's making an impact.
I mean, you're thinking, I would give it to him at the beginning of the year to say, it's new car, new system, new environment. There's some growing pains there, but you're halfway through the season now. Those should be ironed out. You should have enough time in a simulator, enough time in car, in practice, that it shouldn't be so consistently bad.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be these lap times deleted because you know these tracks, the braking points, all these things. So it's just getting used to the car. Easy for me to say here, not being in the car, but I mean, for the greatest of all time, it shouldn't be this much of a gap.
Yeah. Well,
at this stage of the season.
Right. And you last year were in a Mercedes, the last couple years, you've also struggled in the Mercedes where you had someone like George not always outperforming you, but keeping on par with you.
Being consistent.
Yeah.
There was much more consistency from George last year than there was from Lewis.
Yeah. So it's hard. It's getting a little hard to watch in the sense that I almost feel bad.
Well, I feel like, and we'll talk about this in one of my news moments later on, but he's having somewhat of a Lando moment, I think, where the mental part of it is getting to him, and he's really struggling to get out of it, where it's affecting whatever decisions he makes. And you see it in the race, right? Yeah. The decision he makes, the competitiveness of what he's taking into a race day or onto a qualifying. It feels like, I'm not sure, but it feels like that's where that block is. Yeah. Where it's the mental side of his game.
Yeah. Which he has been open about, struggling mentally in races and all that. But It's clearly come back.
Yeah.
But anyways, on to Q3, we have, I want to say Stroll, but both Aston Martins absolutely flying, which we forgot to mention in Q2. The Aston Martins were the top three fastest.
Just behind the McLarens and George, the other two fastest cars. They would have been fourth and fifth.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, they qualified fifth and sixth. So, I mean, still not bad. But their times were enough to... Their times are faster than everybody else in
Q3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were doing really well. And Q2 was the medium tire. So they were doing faster times on the mediums than people in Q3. So, but yeah, I said Stroll, but it was both Aston Martins. Stroll would put up a really good time. Alonso would then go and beat it by
1/10 of a second.
1/10. And then Stroll would go again and beat what they had already done. And it was just, they were at the top, and it was like, are they really about to be front row or second row?
When I look at the times, they are only, what is that? They're only 1/10 of a second behind Charles spoiler alert, Charles in the lead, 1/10 of a second behind him. They're, if I'm looking correctly, 7/100ths behind Oscar's time, something like that. Orlando's time. I didn't think.
Yeah. Lando's
so not a lot there.
Yeah, there's
out of nowhere.
Seconds.
Yeah, they had an upgrade last week. And they qualified 14th and 15th.
Yeah, something.
16th. They qualified terribly. Like, they were non-existent in the race and in qualifying. And all of a sudden, somehow, they put themselves into 5th and 6th.
When I first was watching this, and I was like, they listened to Kevin. Stop telling.
That's what I
stop.
That's what
Stop telling people you're making upgrades. Just put the car on track and see what happens. And I was like, they listened. They totally heard us.
And I'll just go through it now. Before we get to the rest of the grid, I think they just stopped telling their drivers as well. Because on a grid walk before the race, Martin Brundle is talking to Lance Stroll, and it was the most oblivious interview, I think, that a driver's ever given. Because Martin Brundle asked him, last week you brought upgrades and didn't really work out for you last week. What's changed this weekend? Because you guys are flying. And he said, well, the car is running really well. Last week we changed our front wing. It didn't really work. And this week, I don't know. The car is going fast. I don't really know how to explain it. And Brundle's just, okay. I'm not going to pull anything else out of this stone here. He's like, well, good luck. And he just walked away. And then Lance just walked away, gave an awkward smile and a wave, and walked away. It's just, are you not in a driver briefing? Do you not?
No. And when he asks those questions, and any interviewer that asks those questions, the drivers aren't going to be like, oh, we lowered this and changed this. And no, they're not going to give all the details, but they're going to say, oh, last week we had a different front wing. We had this. Hopefully this time we made a couple more adjustments. They have a little bit of something to give.
Yeah. If they asked Alonso that same question, he would have had a more meaty answer, probably. Yeah. I genuinely don't think that Stroll understands what is different from this week to last. I don't know if he talks to his engineers. I don't know. And he put up a great weekend. I'm not taking anything away from Stroll. He put up a great weekend. Aston Martin as a whole did amazing this weekend from where they've been all year. It's just... It was just, why are we talking to Stroll?
They're like, you have to talk to him, and
I felt bad for him, but then I'm like, well, you did it to yourself. Like, you should know a little bit. You should have some information.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Or because it was that shrug meme. He's just like, I don't know, and then and see you later. I don't know.
Whatever.
My dad told me to get in the car.
Yeah, and just drive it.
So
as normal.
Yeah.
So, and I think you had messaged me. You said it was like interviewing a crash test dummy because I missed it. But I was like, oh, that's a good.
Oh, yeah, I did say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That might have been a little harsh, but fairly accurate.
You get the same answers from both. So. Anyways, so the qualifying, how it goes is we have Charles, who was able to put up a fantastic time. However, the McLarens had run first, and we kind of were like, okay, the McLarens, they're going to do, that's going to be the time. And Charles puts up this time, beats them, and the McLarens at this point are like, we'll do another run, obviously, both McLarens. And they're both running and losing time, not gaining anything. Like, I think Lando had all yellow sectors, and Piastri had like the first two were yellow sectors, and it was like, what happened? Again, nobody beat the times that were put up in Q2. Yeah. And they were able to stay in second and third, so Piastri in second, Norris in third, Russell in fourth. I can't even count. Alonso and Stroll, fifth and sixth. Bortoletto, in seventh.
Out-qualifying Max Verstappen by 3/1000ths of a second.
Yeah.
In a Sauber.
Yeah. Where his teammate qualified 19th. So, really good for him. Max in 8th, Liam and Hajar 9th and 10th.
I don't understand why their Q3 times, like everybody lost at least 0.2 of a second to what their Q2 time was. I don't understand where that time went. And I get it. It's a grueling track. There's a lot of high-speed corners. It's probably very easy to lose time if you just don't take the right line or if you don't take the curve the right way. Or there's a lot of high-speed corners, a lot of corners where you're going in from one right into another. So I assume there's probably somewhere to lose time. But they were crushing it in Q2, and they weren't even close into Q3. No. And so I don't know where all this time was lost.
In Q3, they have the faster tire. So it's, again, weird that they were able to put the times on in Q2, but not in Q3. But anyways, moving on to the race, 70 laps. So, buckle up for a long race. And Yuki, we see immediately, Yuki is starting from the pit lane, which is another, he was starting in 16th. But this is another pit lane for Red Bull, and I said it to you, but how much can they change, and how many pit lane starts are they going to take before, I don't know before what, but, I mean, at least if he started in 16th, he could have maybe gone to 12th, 11th.
I feel like they're using him as just the test car. Like, hey, let's see how our upgraded power unit or whatever, our new wing or whatever is going to work. And then we'll put it on Max's. We'll make adjustments before we spend money and send it off to the other car. Yeah. You know what? We can just start him in 20th all year round because we don't plan on having him back next year.
Possibly. So he starts in the pit lane, and then we do formation lap. It's a great start for everybody, really, except for Lando and Max.
Lando
actually
had the worst start, I think.
Yeah, Lando he does the complete opposite of what everybody else is doing, which sometimes you should do that. Try something else. But he goes to the right, I think it would be. And everybody's on the left, which is the driving line. And just opens a door for two cars to just immediately pass through. Max loses a spot. Max lost a spot. He went to 9th. Liam was able to get past him really quickly. And then, he's quickly able to get that back. But, it's a really good, Russell is immediately putting pressure on. Alonso flying up there in the top 5 as well. But by lap 7, Charles is ahead by 2.8 seconds on the McLaren of Oscar Piastri. Never would have thought that coming. There was no way you could have told me that he was going to be ahead by 2.8 seconds.
He had a great 30 laps.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably about 30 laps.
Yeah.
Easy, even when he came in for that first pit stop. I mean, spoiler alert. Piastri comes in first to try the undercut.
Yeah.
Charles comes in the very next lap and still stays out 3 seconds probably ahead of Oscar.
Ahead of him.
It wasn't even close. There was not even a chance to undercut.
Yeah.
I mean, Ferrari was running really well.
Yeah, like you said, the undercut didn't work, and they were actually interviewing Zach Brown at the time, and he's like, "Yeah, it didn't work.
Tried it.
Tried it, didn't work." And I don't know if you caught this, but at one point early on, Isaac Hadjar was complaining about his hands. Did you? I don't know if you saw this.
I did hear that. Yeah.
And it was that someone in front of him, I can't remember who was in front of him, probably a Max or
no, I think
someone.
It was Kimmy or Max or Liam or one of those.
Had dipped their tire into the gravel, and it shot the gravel back at him, and it hit his hands. And like Brundle was basically explaining, like, if you're holding onto the steering wheel, and it hits you at 50 miles an hour, probably even more than that, but
more than that. Well, that's the thing. Like their hands are covered, but coming out of that corner, your hands are exposed as you do that, and he was in a lot of pain.
Yeah, There was a couple radios. I was like, this guy's gonna retire because his hands are killing him.
4 races ago, a piece of gravel that had come up. I don't know if you had seen it. I'd seen it on Instagram. That had come up and hit Pierre Gasly's helmet and literally took a chunk out of a crash helmet. So I'm sure it doesn't feel really great. No. But gloves are not on digits.
No, not at all. So, I mean, we kind of set in to where we are. Piastri, you can see him trying to... you can see McLaren's tires working, or the gears moving in their heads, trying to figure out what they're going to do. I think at this point, Lando's probably back. I think he was back up to third. But this is the problem when you have a 1-2, is how do you attack, or sorry, a 2-3, how do you attack the number one, and how do you not mess up either of your drivers? Which is hard, because one of them is going to be doing an undercut of the other one. So
I think they had an easier time this weekend than they've had before. They weren't really both of them were all in medium tires. They were both putting up similar times, so I don't think there was an issue of one's faster than the other. It's can we double stack or not, which they couldn't. They were too close. They were 3 seconds apart, something like that. It would have been too close if there was an issue. It's just who do we bring in first? And, usually you bring in your lead driver.
Yeah. Which they did bring in Piastri, like you said, tried to do the undercut, didn't work. Ferrari came in right after. And then I think it was a few laps before. No, then they started to talk with Lando about a one stop.
Yeah. Which was the most nonchalant call I've ever. Yeah. It's like, we're thinking about this. What do you think about it? He's like, yeah, sure. No, like there was no, like, I guess they had talked about it. Maybe, I'm sure they talked about it before, but it was just like, yeah, why not? Let's give it a shot. I got nothing to lose.
Yeah. Well, and then so lap 41, you're hearing all these radios, specifically of McLaren. I mean, obviously, if you're listening to or watching on board, you'll hear the other radios, but we hear a lot of the McLaren radios. And lap 41, we get McLaren. Finally, a team has been able to do it this season. We haven't seen it too much. Is make a bluff work.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a double bluff because they were
tried it twice, didn't they?
Yeah, but it worked this time, and Ferrari falls for it. And
out come the clown memes.
Yeah. Ferrari falls for it. And Brundle made a good comment. He said it was probably a situation that Ferrari thought McLaren was basically saying, do the opposite. whatever Charles does, if Charles comes in, stay out.
Yeah.
If he doesn't go in, you come in.
Yeah.
Because again, there's enough gap between them with this 3 seconds to make that last minute decision to dart across into the pit lane. But kind of the minute Charles gets back on track, you from this now second stop, that everything is just falling apart for Ferrari and for him. And he is just losing it on the radio. We see him break down. He pretty much has a mental breakdown in his car for the rest of the race. And rightfully so, because he ends up losing that first place position, losing the second place position. He's in third. Those McLarens have kind of figured out what they're doing. There's still chatter about Lando and if he is going to do a one stop, if Piastri is going to continue to do another stop, whatever. But there's no way he's catching them at that point.
I don't know how you saw it, but to me it just seemed there was no way that Lando wasn't going to be doing the one stop. Just watching it, I'm like, well,
yeah,
okay. It looks like Piastri's on a one stop. They didn't bring Lando in 5 laps later. Like, there's no way he's going to go for a one stop. Yeah. And it was pretty obvious.
And I mean, his tires, when they would kind of show close up, I mean, everybody's tires were pretty decent. Like, they weren't.
Track temperature was dropping as the race was going on. They were lasting longer than they expected.
Yeah.
And I mean, we saw that as soon as it became obvious to other teams that Lando was on a one stop, a lot of the teams just decided to do a one stop.
Can you bring it to the end? I mean, at one point McLaren says, "Hey, Lando, if there's a late safety car, we'll take advantage, but what tires do you want?" And he just responds soft within 1 second of the question being asked. But that never happens, and he just carries on. And there is Piastri at one point starts really, really gaining on Lando towards the end of this, and like I said, it was 70 laps. And
once he gets through back markers, or he gets past George again, I can't remember which one it was. He's 9 seconds behind Lando, and he brings it into 2 less than. No, sorry, what am I saying? Eventually, he's half a second.
He's in DRS.
Well, how did I forget that?
Yeah. He is very much in DRS, right behind Lando, at really in the last 2 laps.
Yeah.
But before we get to the last 2 laps, we see George just cutting time out of Leclerc's time, and just getting really close to him in terms of where he's going to be able to overtake on him. And you're kind of watching this car who's been in the lead comfortably this whole time. The car is falling apart before our eyes. Yeah. Not like physically, no, but but it's just, how is he dropping back so much? And then we later do find out, Charles is on the radio saying, "I don't know why you guys don't listen to me. If you had listened to me, I could have fixed this. Yeah. I could have figured this all out, but you're making decisions." What we later find out is that they had, which every team is allowed to do, they make changes to their car per track. They know it's going to be raining, so they set up the chassis in a certain way. They set up the car in a certain way. And they're also anticipating at that point their tire strategy. Yeah. So whatever plan they had in place before, and we don't know all the specs of the plan, but they had set up the car for, call it strategy A. On track, and what they were seeing numbers wise, it actually was more of a plan B, and then they wanted to switch this, but they had already changed the tire pressure, and they can't change it now because they're in Parc Fermé. So the tire pressure that they had was not working with the car setup that they had going. So this leads to possible disqualification if the car's too low. Yeah. And so it was just, I mean, all this is found out towards the end, a lot of it after the race. So we hear I think George was the one that actually spoke about it as well and said he knew exactly what was wrong with Charles' car. And maybe he had a conversation with him, but and it happens. These are the gambles, these are the strategy calls that happen. And like you said, like the track was changing and people that were going to be doing a 2-stop suddenly were doing a 1-stop. So
it happens, but it didn't happen to anybody else. How
no,
many
I mean it just happens
strategy mishaps in Ferrari can we have over the last 4 years? Where you're just not figuring out, where you can't make real-time decisions without it being a complete disaster or having the possibility of being one. They have to change something.
And how low? Yeah, how low or high did they change the chassis that it impacted? Because the first pit change, tire change, didn't really affect him. So it was the second go round.
Yeah, it was at lap 40.
How much of a change or how much pressure did you guys put that it impacted the car to this? Obviously, it was a legal amount that they changed.
Yeah.
But
I'm not a mathematician here, and I know it's not the right word.
Works for me.
I did it on purpose. It's a Simpsons line.
Works for me.
But I also don't get paid a shit ton of money by an F1 team. Everything they do here is math. Mm-hmm. Everything, all their strategy, whatever. There's some kind of formula. There's a strategy that you can plan for. And I'm sure they're planning for every eventual possibility here, whether it's a 2-stop or 1-stop, fuel levels, estimated fuel levels at certain points. Unless there was something that literally broke on his car, which they can't account for, it shouldn't be a guessing game. It shouldn't be, shit, I hope this works out. It shouldn't be, my driver was right when he doesn't even have all the data in front of him.
Yeah.
You can't keep making these same mistakes and screwing your driver, screwing your team out of points, championships, just general respect. It can't happen. It can't happen multiple times. You can't make the same mistakes over and over again. You want to make it once, fine, learn from it. But it can't happen over and over and over again. No, at some point, then something needs to change.
Yeah, it's getting pretty ridiculous at this point. And then, we see towards the end of a season, which, okay, it hasn't happened this season yet, but we see in past seasons, all of a sudden they're saying on the radio, Charles, what do you think? Yeah. Carlos, what do you think? And it's like, I'm not the one getting paid. I can tell you what I can feel in the car, but...
Charles is so frustrated now, and after the radio messages, it will happen again. Because now they're worried of messing up, and they're going to ask him, how do you feel about this? Yeah. We don't see it with any other team. We don't see these mistakes with any other team. And maybe they're just magnifying Ferraris because it's happened so much. Yeah. But we need to see anybody else lose time, lose pace, like we saw Ferrari, even just one of the Ferraris this week.
Yeah. And again, it was something that very quickly, even Charles was very aware of, because he said, after that second pit stop, he said, we'll be lucky if we get a podium. Yeah. So how could he know?
We've lost all competitiveness. He can feel it.
He knew immediately that something was wrong and that, they made the wrong call or what have you. I mean, I don't know if we'll ever know. But he was very upset in his post race, just going, and his whole radio is just like, okay, Charles, like, we're so sorry. We'll talk about it after. And I think he's usually pretty good in the sense that he will, we'll talk about this after. He could not hold back.
No, he started, and we talked about it earlier. He drove angry after.
Yeah.
And was uncharacteristically, not dangerous, aggressive. Like, he's aggressive, but this was certain unnecessary moves.
Yeah. And just so much so, and you kind of made the comparison, like that he made a move and they're like, oh, that's unexpected from.
That's just not like Charles.
It's
He's
just
driving
not
angry.
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where if it was Max, it would have been like,
yeah,
Max has got to stop these things. Somebody's got to look at his
dangerous.
driving style. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, which is dangerous. I mean, if you are driving angry, I mean, they even say for regular people driving regular old cars, you're not supposed to drive and,
Yeah, road rage is not a good thing.
No.
Road rage in a rocket ship.
Yeah.
Doesn't work out well.
No. And when you're mad at the team as well,
yeah,
not going to be good. But so we kind of not that nothing changes, but there's just the usual battles that are happening at this point. Bierman gets on the radio. He's complaining about brakes. No, something in his car. I think he says the car is broken, not the brakes. He says something in the car is broken. So he ends up getting a call to retire the car.
Mm-hmm.
Max not really improving.
Just nowhere.
Lewis, kind of the same. I mean, no, I think Lewis gets up into
12th.
Where does he? Yeah,
he gets up in 12th. He finishes 12th.
Yeah, which is
so really not much
where he started.
Of anything. Yeah.
I don't think we had.
I mean, if
very
you look
much...
at it, other than Charles, Bordelotto gains one place. Lance loses one. Max loses one. Other than that, where he started is where he finished. Much. Except for Albon, but
yeah. And so in the last couple laps, like we said, the McLarens get close to each other. Zach Brown is on, and he says, they ask him what the rules are. He says, keep it clean, race your race, fight if you want.
Which is the right call. I mean, if they were further away in championship points, I could see saying, it's going to stay this way. We're not switching. You're going to stay 1-2, no fighting, whatever. But they're within 8 points, if I'm not mistaken. 9 points, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Hey, race. Just don't touch.
Yeah.
Don't
you dare. And I mean, how can you tell Piastri, who has gone from 9 seconds behind to within DRS, how do you tell him, no, you actually can't pass him if you get there?
He smells blood because those tires are old.
Yeah, he knows that Lando hasn't gone in. He knows what the team's calling. So he gets in within that DRS range, and he is all over the tail of Lando. And so much so that he's about to do an overtake, or wanting to do an overtake on a corner.
Tries a Max-esque late lunge into an inside corner.
Yeah, and locks up and just misses Lando. And Lando's able to just kind of skirt around the corner and keep going, which obviously if you lock up, that's going to take time. That's going to ruin. Yeah. Depending on how badly you lock up those tires.
2 laps left. He never got anywhere near close enough again.
No. So Lando goes off and he wins the Hungarian Grand Prix. Great for Lando because if everybody remembers, this was the race last year that Lando was winning. Sorry, Piastri was winning this race. Can't remember exactly what happened, but there was a mess up from McLaren. Lando ends up in the lead of the race towards the end of the race. And there's this call to Lando, pleading with Lando to switch positions. Give Oscar back this position. And again, the radio was essentially pleading with him to give back.
For 5 or 6 laps.
Yeah. Do the right thing, Lando. You've got to do it. It's for the team. It's not just for whatever bullshit they were saying. And so, and I think that was the same race that he said, well, if he reaches me, fine. And I mean, this was a race. Oscar reached him, but he didn't get it. And last year, that was Oscar's first win. which again, I think we talked about it last year. What an awful way to get your first win,
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
whatever. But today, Lando was able to get the win back. That was kind of taken from him last year.
Yeah.
So, and I think he just raced a good race. He kept his tires on that one stop. He had an awful start, which is unfortunately kind of Lando-esque to have a bad start. But he had a bad start. He was able to recover. And this is one of those things that we've talked about with like his mind playing games with him. Like if you just drive, and he didn't make those little mistakes. Actually, it was Oscar this weekend that made those little mistakes that Lando typically does. So, yeah. So then how did we finish? It was
Lando, Oscar,
George,
Charles,
yes.
Fernando in 5th, Bortoleto up into 6th, Stroll up into 7th, Liam in 8th ahead of Max Verstappen in 9th. And then Kimi in 10th actually gains a place, or gains a point, sorry.
Yeah.
And then Lewis, or Isaac, and then Lewis, and then the rest of the field. It doesn't matter. We did have a nice fight between Max and Lewis. Once again, they were fighting for quite a bit. I think like two laps, probably about that, before Max tries one of his overtakes out of a high-speed corner. And they don't touch. There was an investigation. I think just because it was Max versus Lewis. I really wanted us to believe that's why they got called.
That's why they did.
Office. But Lewis didn't even bother showing up. Lewis didn't care. There was no touch.
We didn't even hear Lewis's radio about it.
No, he didn't even get run off the track. I think he was just, like I said to you earlier, I think he was just carrying a little too much speed into that corner trying to defend, and he had to use more than he wanted to, and so he went off, and then Max ended up using the rest of the track because why not? Instead of
it's a tight corner that it happened on too. So the minute you even
out
just
of one corner into another,
So if you just slightly move your tire, you're gonna be off on the road. So I don't think, I mean, we know they didn't touch.
Despite all the commentary. And
I'm
not disparaging the commentary. I do enjoy those too. It was very much British bias. And there was no way, you could see it from the beginning. They didn't touch.
And disappointing for Lewis again to be out of
the points. The only time he sniffed a point was when he stayed out instead of making a pit stop, and he moved into I think the highest he was 4th, something like that.
That was the Lando famously broke Max's 2 years ago, famously broke Max's trophy in Hungary. So when he won, obviously he quickly, before they started spraying champagne, moved his and Oscar's, didn't care about George's.
No, he
moved their trophies out of the way. And so I mean, with this win, I don't know if you saw this. Lando has 9 wins. Oscar has 8 wins. In total, yes. Okay. Which this season, last season.
Yeah.
There was just this graphic about in Daniel Ricciardo's whole, I don't know, I'm throwing him under the bus, but in his whole career,
well, you did.
He only had 8 wins. So it's like these two young guys have kind of met and already
but
beat
I
that.
mean, they've also been in the best car since last year, where Daniel never had the best car. I mean, he went from a decent Red Bull into a Renault into a shit McLaren.
Which he won in. He did win in.
He did win one,
He did one with Renault, and he won with McLaren. So
But I mean, they were never to the level of this car. I mean, this guy, not, nothing against the amazing driving that both drivers are doing.
Yeah.
But they're also in the fastest car as well, so it's more so they're fighting each other. So they should have at least a total of Daniel Ricciardo's wins.
Yeah. Well, and this is what, Oscar's second year? Third.
As a full-time driver, it's just
third year. Yeah, I think. Yeah. I mean, he's only been in a fast
Yeah.
car, right? Like the McLaren was not great at the beginning of last year. The year before, it was in the midfield. I
Yeah.
mean, it was just, but he has been able to rack up some points over the years, and it turned into wins this time last year, and
Yeah.
he's just been able to capitalize on that. So yeah, I mean, I just thought it was an interesting graphic to see that, hey, these two have already beat Daniel Ricciardo. So, I mean, some people have one win in F1.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, they are in the fastest car. So, and then that was I was about to say the Belgian Grand Prix, but it wasn't. That was the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Hungarian Grand Prix. It was. Yeah.
What else do we have? Do we have any news this week?
I have one thing. So one thing I kind of mentioned before, and you hadn't seen it. So it was Carlos being upset with people in general over the perception of
me.
Lando Norris. I believe it's people, not just the media. Yeah. Oh yeah, I guess the media, everybody really.
Yeah.
So I'll just read you his comments. So
Okay.
it was about Lando and being so emotionally or mentally fragile and stuff. He says, what you see on TV is what he is as a human being. He's very good at showing himself. I sometimes find it a bit ironic and a bit frustrating. He's probably the only guy being 100% genuine on his feelings and the way he thinks about, but then people are going back at him. It's a bit sad because probably the 19 other drivers have similar level of doubt and a similar level of self-criticism inside their heads. They don't explain it out loud because we prefer to keep it inside and not say it to the media. So I thought those were interesting comments. I don't think he's wrong at all. I think Lando has a lot of self-doubt. I think that's obviously.
Yeah.
I don't think that everybody has a similar level of self-doubt.
No.
I do understand where he's coming from though.
I get where he's coming from, but if you are the only driver that is vocal about it.
Well, we saw Lewis being vocal about it this weekend.
Yeah.
Right?
But if you are the only ones, you are kind of going to be picked on.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I get where you're coming from, but.
I get where he's coming from. I just don't, I don't think you're the one who should be annoyed by it when you're the one putting it out there.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to think about. I mean, and we've seen it. We've seen Hadjar with some doubts. We've seen Antonelli with doubts this year. I mean, we haven't really seen it with like Albon, but you can tell he's just a very self-doubty kind of person. But you kind of hear it in the radio messages. Like Carlos, you can hear it in his radio messages. He's a very vocal person when it comes to that. He just doesn't say it in an interview.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I mean...
I think the only person who generally doesn't give a shit is Max.
Yes. I think also, though, we look at, as a society, we look at like only the sadness or like, a sad radio message or whatever. But a losing your shit radio message is emotion. So, like, Charles lost his shit this weekend. Yes, he was angry, but I'm sure he was disappointed. I'm sure he was, feeling all kinds of emotions.
Yeah, but I think that was more just anger. I don't think that was more of a self-doubt kind of thing.
I don't think that was doubt.
He was very sure
self-righteous,
of himself, saying, if you had just told me, I would have told you what was the right thing to do.
I would have fixed this.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's nice to hear like someone sticking up for, obviously we know they're really good friends.
Orlando,
yeah, but it's nice to hear somebody sticking up for him.
Yeah.
But like I said, I mean, he is going to be the one picked on
because he's the one that puts himself out there.
Because he's the one that puts himself out there. So if you don't want him to be picked on, you talk about your feelings too.
He's the American Eagle of F1. I'll leave that out there.
Oh God. Oh dear.
I am not calling Lando Norris a Nazi, nor am I calling American Eagle that. Anyways.
This took a turn.
Yeah, it did.
This took a turn.
This is where I hate people too. But anyways, so fresh set and dirty air.
I'm going to go with Lando winning this Grand Prix. I mean, not that I'm not a Lando fan, but I felt so bad for him last year, and to come back and really, really earn this win, because he was in third, dropped to fifth.
Yeah.
Mid race went to a one stop when it was supposed to be a two, managed his tires, kept his cool, defended, I guess. Yeah, I guess it in a way he did defend Oscar.
He did.
So I think he probably feels more pride on this win in Hungary than he would have gotten for last year. I mean, McLaren being in his ear yelling at him. But yeah, I think this was a well-deserved win for Lando. So that's mine.
That was going to be mine, so you stole it.
Sorry.
That's fine. He was my driver of the day. Like, that was easy. It was an easy pick. And like for a lot of the same reasons you said. So I will change mine.
Okay.
I've picked Bortoletto quite a bit lately, so I'll leave him out of there. He's had a great weekend. I'll give it to the Aston Martins. I kind of don't want to, because it doesn't seem like they know why they should be there.
No, they know. Lance doesn't know. They know.
But it wasn't like a fluke thing. It's not like we had rain and a bunch of car pileups and they just took advantage of a bad situation. They were there. They were there all weekend. From practices all the way through qualifying and into the race. They drove a great race. Alonso was in third at one point right off the start, and then just lost out to faster cars, which is whatever. Yeah. Still finished fifth. Stroll out of nowhere, putting himself into sixth and keeping that place. I mean, he's finished in seventh, but still drove a decent race, and faster than a Red Bull. Faster than a lot of people. I didn't feel like they had any business being up there, especially after last weekend, and they did.
Yeah, no, I
explain it, but they're there.
I would agree with that one. Dirty Air. Do you want to go first so I don't take yours?
Oh, there's so many.
So many. Yeah.
So many. You know what? You took my easy one. I'm gonna take the easy one. Ferrari. It's just Ferrari in general. Yeah. I mean, I picked one team for fresh. I might as well pick a team for a dirty. Yeah. It was you take, and then all the memes are about Leclerc and his poles and not being able to convert a pole. He's turning into Lando. Actually, he's worse than Lando, but at this point, you can't take that and just screw your driver. Okay, forget about Lewis. Lewis couldn't drive the car this weekend. For whatever reason, you had a car that can finish in pole. You should have had the other car up there, but that was Lewis's fault. You shouldn't be giving away points, giving away positions, screwing your driver who was driving great against two faster cars.
Yeah.
It was just a complete failure, and they have to figure out the strategy, whether it's new people or better process, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was just a complete and utter pathetic collapse.
Yeah. I would agree. I mean,
which is tough to say because they finished. He's still at fourth.
Yeah. But when you could have been getting 25 points in first, really messing up McLaren's positioning in the Drivers' Championship. Yeah. Now, when I say messing up, it's not like Lando or Oscar still wouldn't have been in first, but it just creates that little bit more drama if you have somebody else win. Yep. Because then they're only getting 18 and 12 points, 18 and 16 points. 15 versus 25 and 18. So it really just makes a difference.
Even if Leclerc had finished second and split the two McLarens, that's a 7-point difference.
Yeah.
It really throws another wrench into the mix.
Yeah.
You're not just contending with each other and you're going to have 7-point swings here and there, or back and forth. You've got someone else who can take points away from you.
Yeah. It doesn't mean that, Max is now suddenly going to win, but it just kind of keeps him a little bit alive in this race. If you are a Max fan or not, it keeps that race alive.
And how many times can you keep screwing your driver before he says, fuck it, I'm going to leave?
Yes, although I don't think Charles would be the one to walk away from Ferrari.
I don't.
But I get what you mean.
I don't think he would.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're really playing with fire if you're
Yeah.
going to screw him this many times.
Yeah.
And where he's got poles or he's in a position to make big points, podiums, wins, and your strategy isn't matching the talent.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. My dirty air. I mean, you had them as your fresh set, but I'm actually going to go with the Aston Martins just because after qualifying, I was like, yeah, get a podium. You guys go for it. I mean, they're not my team at all.
You're giving them a participation medal as your dirty air?
Yeah. And then I was like, you know what? Then they didn't fall off completely, but we didn't hear a lot about. We heard a lot about Alonso in the beginning of the race
because he moved up to third.
Because he moved up to third, and then the minute he fell from third, we never really heard from them again. Which again,
No,
but they still did well. They still ended.
I mean, yeah, Alonso finished where he started.
Yeah, they still ended well. And then my other one, I did have two, is Colapinto. Another one that we just.
Yeah,
we heard so much about him last year.
Yeah.
We heard so much about him last year, and then this year he's come back and he's just nowhere.
Did
was in a different car.
Gasly.
This was the first time qualify and finish ahead of a teammate. I think it was for him as well. So, yeah. So those were mine. And there's 3-week break of races, but we will be back with episodes.
And there will be 2 weeks with at least no news, at least from the F1 world.
Correct. Yes. Gardening leave.
But we've got gardening. No, that's when you leave. This is just summer break.
This is just summer break.
Gardening leave is when you leave and you're not allowed to go work for another company for a certain period of time.
Right.
So you get to go pick carrots.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But yeah, we will be back with other episodes and games and stuff. But we will see you guys next time.
Yep. Grab a fresh set.
Bye.